Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Rolene Marks. This is the Israel Brief, where you come every Monday to Thursday to get your headlines fresh off the press and right here. And as always, the Israel Brief is proudly sponsored by Lay of the Land. Now, we have been off air with our content on our website for the last week or so, but we will resume regular programming after Yom Kippur next week. But before we get there, let's take a look at those top stories. And we begin with concerns by the US State Department about the significant increase in violent clashes between Palestinians and the Israeli forces in parts of the West Bank. This follows a deadly day yesterday where severe clashes between IDF counter-terror units and Palestinian gunmen resulted in 4 killed, including 2 wanted terrorist suspects. Now, the IDF Chief of Staff, Aviv Kochavi, has said that the IDF is working literally round the clock 24/7 to try and prevent any kind of terror attacks on Israeli citizens. And he also announced earlier today that he has given the order to the Israeli Defense Force to use drones for targeted assassinations in the West Bank where necessary. We will keep you updated on the situation as it continues to unfold in the West Bank. A prayer vigil will be held outside the Israeli embassy in the South African capital city of Tshwane, which many of you may remember as Pretoria, later today. This comes as pastors from around the country will gather under the auspices of the South African Friends of Israel to pray for peace in the Middle East. The pastors have expressed their growing discontent at the Department of International Relations and Cooperation in South Africa, as well as the minister of that particular ministry, Naledi Pandor's overt hostility towards the Jewish state and the ongoing hostile foreign policy. Now, this prayer vigil will be the first of many across South Africa, hoping to culminate in a massive one later this year in November. South Africa is one of very, very few countries that are still overtly hostile towards the Jewish state. We now go to Russia, where Reuters announced earlier today that tomorrow Russia will annex some parts of the Ukraine into the Russian Federation. Now, this comes as continued calls for mobilization ring out across the country, and many are fleeing, fearing that the borders could be closed forever. Now, the Jewish community is no different, many trying to get Israeli passports or to be able to make aliyah, to flee, to escape the ongoing mobilization and increased isolation of Russia. But there have been concerns that anti-Semitism is also starting to seep into the Russian media. There have been accusations made against Russian Jewry that they are not sufficiently patriotic enough, and that many are supporting Ukraine out of greed. We have gone down this road before, and it is extremely, extremely worrying. We will be keeping an eye on the situation, then continue to pray for the safety of Russia's Jewish community. And our final story takes us to Poland, this time to the Auschwitz death camp. And yesterday, the movie star and former governor of California, Arnold Schwarzenegger, visited the former death camp. The Terminator, as he has been called, said that it is important to work on education and to terminate prejudice wherever it rears its ugly head. Now, Schwarzenegger's late father was a highly decorated member of the Nazi Party. He served as a policeman, but Arnold Schwarzenegger himself has been dedicated and has worked with organizations like the Simon Wiesenthal Center in helping to combat anti-Semitism and racism. He toured the former death camp yesterday and also met with a Holocaust survivor. However, controversially, when he signed the guest book, he signed it, "I'll be back," which, while we appreciate the sentiment, trivializing or using movie trivia is maybe just a little bit tacky. But thank you, former Governor Schwarzenegger. We hope many of your ilk will follow with a very, very important visit and also commit themselves to fighting anti-Semitism. So those are our top stories for today. Don't forget to join me next week. But in the meantime, you can check out all our archived content and previous episodes of the Israel Brief on our website at www.layoftheland.online. Our Facebook page is at Lottel Site. Like us and follow us. Our YouTube channel is at the Israel Brief. You guys know what to do. Join our growing community by clicking on the red subscribe button. And we're on Twitter at layoftheland5. And with that, I'm Rolene Marks, wishing you all a wonderful weekend. It's Shabbat Shuvah as we count down to the Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur, next week. Of course, we won't be on air Erev Yom Kippur and for the day of Yom Kippur. But we wish you, wherever you are in the world, a safe and a peaceful weekend. Shabbat Shalom. And I will see you all next week.